December 28, 2025, The Hague, Netherlands. On a cold, damp winter day, persecuted Christians from Chinese house churches, along with human rights defenders and pro-democracy activists, gathered near the Chinese embassy in the Netherlands. They protested the CCP's crackdown on religious freedom and expressed solidarity with Yayang Church and all persecuted Christians. According to relevant reports, from December 13 to 18, 2025, the CCP deployed more than 1,000 police officers, paramilitary police, and firefighters from Hangzhou, Pingyang, and other areas to carry out raids on at least 12 gathering sites in Yayang town. Hundreds of Christians were taken away for interrogation, and several leaders were criminally detained or placed on wanted lists. At the rally, following the conclusion of the opening prayer, several Christians persecuted in China took turns speaking. Jiang Li recounted the crackdown on Yayang Church by the CCP and noted that religious persecution in China has continued to intensify in recent years. In 2024 alone, nearly 20,000 Christians from the Church of Almighty God were arrested. More than 2,000 were sentenced, and nearly 30 lost their lives due to persecution. She emphasized that as long as the CCP's authoritarian rule remains, Christians in China will not enjoy freedom of belief or basic human rights. Song Mengyuan spoke about her experiences in China, where even Christians' ordinary worship gatherings or Bible study can be deemed illegal. For remaining steadfast in her faith, she was forced to move from place to place to evade pursuit, and ultimately compelled to flee abroad. In the speeches that followed, several Christians pointed out that the CCP follows a consistent pattern in its crackdown on house churches. Criminalization first, then smear campaigns, followed by suppression. Several leaders of the Yayang Church were charged, labeled as criminal suspects, and placed on wanted lists, while believers were subjected to large-scale arrests, plunging the local community into fear for a time. Drawing on their own experiences, they emphasized that such persecution is not an isolated case. Many Christians have been arrested for their faith, with some forced into exile abroad, separated from their families. They called on the CCP to immediately end the persecution of Yayang Church and Christians, and urged the international community to pay attention to China's worsening human rights situation.
尊重人权，信仰无罪，敬拜无罪，传福音无罪。
After several speakers shared their experiences of persecution and called for greater attention, participants at the rally joined together in singing the hymn, "I'm Resolved to Follow God," their voices firm and resolute.
这世界的黑暗邪恶，更激起我寻求人生光明。基督就是真理道路生命。我铁心跟随到底。
Christ is the truth, the way, and the life. I'm resolved to follow him to the end. These words reflect the hearts of the Christians present, inspiring them to remain steadfast in their faith and follow God even in the face of persecution. During the speeches by pro-democracy activists and human rights advocates, Liu Xiaobin opened with a series of rhetorical questions, pointedly asking what kind of party the CCP truly is. He emphasized that when a regime sustains its rule through violence, lies, and fear, those who suffer persecution are not just a particular group, but all ordinary people. Wei Zhijian and several other human rights advocates went on to stress that religious persecution is not a matter of China's internal affairs, but conduct that seriously violates international human rights conventions. They warned that when a regime does not allow conscience to exist, anyone can become the next victim. Other human rights advocates said that believers, human rights defenders, and ordinary citizens alike are living under intense pressure and fear. When human rights and freedoms are completely stripped away and persecution becomes endless, people cannot help but ask, how far can a system built on suppressing faith and extinguishing conscience really go? The speeches continued. Several participants voiced their support for Yayang Church from different perspectives and spoke out on behalf of all those who suffer oppression because of their faith. At the conclusion of the rally, participants joined together in singing the Christian hymn, Amazing Grace. It's a song that carries hope and light through suffering and darkness, filling hearts with strength. Amid ongoing persecution, they continued to choose to stand firm in their faith.